All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Testimony Tuesday. I am excited. I'm here with my friend Christa. I had the pleasure of knowing Christa way before any of us had ever been to church. And so I'm excited that she's here with us today to share her story. It's impactful. Jesus has transformed her life in ways that you can never imagine. So I'm really, really honored that she's here today just to speak her story. So Christa, why don't you say hi?
Hey, everyone.
So we'll just start off, Christa. Why don't you just tell everyone a little bit of who you were and what your life was before you met Jesus?
So, growing up, I did not have any kind of religion or didn't even know Jesus growing up. My family, my parents, both of them were addicts. So, growing up in a chaotic household with, chaotic situations and, with my parents using that, they were there physically, but never mentally. And then little bit of a rough childhood, and then growing up, I started using when I was 14. So my whole existence, pretty much from teenage years up until my late 20s, was pretty much drugs and bad things and things that happened to me and things I've seen, and just jails and rehabs, and I lost my kids for a couple years, and that and then getting clean. I that's how I met you and Eric, was when I got clean through drug court and all that. And getting clean was I always believed in Jesus. Like, I always believed in him, and I always know there was something greater than myself, because obviously I'm here for a reason, because I would have been dead a million times over. But I didn't know what it was to actually follow him.
Right.
I was I always believed that you didn't have to go to church to believe in Jesus, and all you had to do was just be a good person, and you would go to heaven. And you just had to forgive me for all my sins. And I used to do a lot of foxhole prayers, where I would be like, Jesus, if you get me out of this, I swear I'll do this and I'll do this and I'll never do this again, and blah 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 blah. And then in 2007 is when my mom passed, and that kind of deterred me away from, like, why. Like, I just questioned constantly, like, why. And then after that, and then I got clean, and then I met my husband, which was pretty amazing. He's I never thought in a million years that I would find such an amazing person to be in my life, but I was still doing things that weren't acceptable.
Right.
Like, I was still living the life of the, like, just not using, and I was still doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I was still just, acting like a crazy person. And then, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression and all that. So, I was always pumped up full of meds. Like, when I was 16 is when they diagnosed me with everything. So, like, I was constantly medicated all the time. And then in 2016 is when my stepdad, the man who raised me, he was in a car accident and it killed him. And I think I completely just lost my mind at that point. I completely just shut down inside. I was worried more about my outsides than my insides. Being an addict, for me, it's one way or the other. There's never no gray area. So I was working out like crazy, just trying to fix this because my insides were so messed up. And then John and I started having problems, and he Chris and Sarah, my brother and sister-in-law, they were in JRNY, and I saw how it changed their lives. And my husband saw how it changed their lives, and he started going. And I was hesitant, completely hesitant. I'm like, I don't need to go to church to know that Jesus loves me and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And, it just escalated from there. I picked up and left my kids and my family and coupled several times. The doctor was just kept pumping me full of meds, you need this and this, and you're bipolar and this, and it just went downwards from there.
Right. And I think it's so interesting to kind of share about your story is you got clean way before you met Jesus and stayed clean, but there was things that you removed the drug, but there was still something missing and something not fixed. And so your rock bottom was almost got worse, like mentally, was right before you met Jesus. And I would love for you to share that, because I remember seeing John at Royersford and not knowing that he was your husband at the time. And I would be like, why does his wife always just sit in the car outside of the church, like, terrified to come inside? And when I saw it was you, I was like so excited and glad that the day that I remember vividly, the day that you sat down and you actually said to me, you're like, I would never raise my hand. And if you're kind of scrolling through this, raise your hand is giving your life to Jesus here at JRNY. We do that at the end of each and every sermon on Sunday. And Christa told me to my face, I will not ever raise my hand. Like, pretty much you won't see me raising my hand. And I laughed, and I had the privilege and honor to stand on the stage that day and look over the crowd of people and see Christa's hand raised in the air. And I'll never forget that day. So I would love for you to kind of share with everyone what happened to actually have you sit in a chair and come to church and be there and be present, and what happened to you in that moment.
So I came back from where I was. I kind of came to my senses, and I came back home, and I remember I just felt defeated. I'm like, I just cannot do this anymore. And I remember laying in bed with my husband and saying, I'm just going to go to church. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to raise my hand. I'm just going to go. And he's like, all right. And he's a saint in my eyes. He stuck by me, and he didn't pressure me. He just prayed and prayed, and he's amazing. But I remember, and then I would go on Sundays, and I would get, Pastor Steve, and, he always seems to make me cry at the end. But this one time, it was actually Pastor Jordan, the day that I got saved. I can't tell you exactly the date because I'm horrible with dates, but I can tell you the way that I felt. I can tell you my surroundings. I was bawling hysterically that day. I was crying like I haven't cried in years. And I could just hear in my heart, just, Christa, it's the day. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And that's just when I did it. And I remember the second that I did it, I was like, it was the biggest release, and just like, okay, like you can breathe now. Like, it was the most freeing, I think it was the most amazing thing, better than coming off drugs, like being clean. Like, I have never felt that free. And I'll never ever forget that feeling, ever.
That's awesome. It is like it's a feeling that you can't really describe, but
Right.
I shared it. It's like, it was better than even just being clean and not dependent on the drug. It's just, you feel freedom. Something else I would love for you to share a little bit is kind of how you were saying, because your husband was coming for a while, I don't remember how long, by himself, but he didn't pressure you, and all he did was like pray for you and stuck by your side through it. And I think that's incredible. I would love for you to just kind of share that again. I didn't know how long he was coming and what it kind of looked like for John.
I'm pretty sure. I think he was coming. Him and the kids were going for about a year. But I mean, he never really lost it on me. He never yelled at me. Of course I can imagine what it was like for him. Like he probably felt so defeated and so like, I just want to give up. And he never like pushed me in any kind of way. Like he never was like, you need to go to church or this, like you need to do this or this. Like it was never like that. He just let me go through what I needed to go through.
Right.
And he just knew like I was going to get there.
Right.
He just knew.
That's so incredible. I know there's a lot of people that probably can relate on that either sides, and that could be coming to church for a while and their spouse isn't sitting beside them. And it's tough. It's a tough thing. A lot of people question it. Why, should I continue to come even though they're not, or how can I get them to come? And sometimes you feel like it's on you, but really it's all in the power of God and,
right.
and just staying strong through that. So I think that's incredible. Christa, I know personally how much your life, how you have changed even in the last couple years from finding God. But I would love for you to share what your life looks like today, now that you have Jesus in your life.
Everything changed. Everything. Just the way that I speak, the way that even if I say, like, I feel convicted when I do things I'm not supposed to do, or think I pray before I do things. We're having, I still struggle with anxiety a little, you know what I mean? That I still, we had a great therapist. She was a big help in our marriage, and there's a lot of things that I still struggle with, and that's just, it's from my past and things that have happened, and so I still struggle with anxiety a bit, but now I don't have to like reach for something. I pray and I talk to God, and I don't have to use medication to help me through it.
Right.
We have two teenage girls right now who are a little hard to handle. But we're using prayer and Jesus and trying and praying for them to just help them find the way and help them to see what God has done in our lives and how much he's done in our lives and has turned everything around.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't, and especially serving in the kids' room at church, like, it was like I found my calling in life. Right. Like, I've always liked kids, but like being in there, like I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do in life.
I love that because it is even serving in kids has even changed or has made you found your calling. Because I hear you talk about it. It has made you found like what you truly want to do with your life, and it has to do with kids, which you would never thought before. And someone before you met Jesus didn't have custody of your children, lived an out of control life, slowly find Jesus, and you've realized your calling is to be with children and helping them kind of, even though go back to your broken home as a child, just children that are going through that. And I think that's very, very amazing, that God is using your troubles for good, and everything evil that has happened in your life for good. And I just know that cannot happen by anything but what Jesus has done through you. So that's why I strongly believe your testimony is powerful. And I thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. But for anybody who's watching this today and you feel like you're in somewhere where Christa has been in your life, I can tell you just from knowing her story that her just surrendering and giving her life to Jesus, it changed who she is. And I'm happy to serve alongside with her. So yeah, definitely. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.